Welcome to A Veil of Crime, where we uncover the darkest truths hidden in history and modern life. Today's story takes us to the summer of 1993 in a small, quiet town in western New York. Savona was the kind of place where people knew each other by name, where children could ride their bikes down Main Street and parents felt safe letting their kids play outside. But on August 2nd, 1993, that sense of safety was shattered forever. This is the story of Erik Smith, a 13-year-old boy whose shocking act of violence claimed the life of 4-year-old Derrick Robie. It is a case that horrified the nation, not only because of its brutality, but because of the young age of the killer. It was a bright, warm Monday morning. Derrick Robie woke up eager to attend a summer day camp, something he looked forward to every year. His mother, Derrick Robie, prepared his lunch: grapes, Kool-Aid, and a banana. She placed it neatly into a small paper bag. The camp was only a few blocks away, and for the first time, she decided to let Derrick walk there by himself. It was a decision she would regret for the rest of her life. Just a few minutes after leaving home, Derrick crossed paths with Erik Smith. Erik, with his shock of bright red hair, was a familiar face around the neighborhood. Though not particularly close to the Robie family, he had been wandering the streets that morning, later claiming he was bored and restless. According to Erik's later confession, he approached Derrick and convinced him to take a shortcut through a nearby wooded area across a small field. Once they were alone, Erik's demeanor changed. He led Derrick into a secluded spot in a park-like area and, without warning, he attacked him. The details that emerged in court were horrifying. Erik strangled Derrick with his own shoelace. He hit him on the head with rocks. He also sexually assaulted his body after death. For a 13-year-old to commit such an act stunned even experienced law enforcement officers. When Derrick didn't arrive at camp on time, counselors called his mother. At first, she thought perhaps he had gotten distracted or stopped to talk to a friend. But within minutes, panic set in. Neighbors joined the search, combing through streets, fields, and wooded patches. Tragically, Derrick's body was found just a few hundred feet from the camp, close enough that his absence was almost unimaginable. His paper lunch bag lay nearby, untouched. Initially, police had no leads. Savona wasn't the kind of place where violent crime happened. But Erik soon began to draw attention. He had inserted himself into the investigation by showing up at the command post and asking detectives unsettling questions about the murder. He seemed oddly curious and even excited about the details. Witnesses also remembered seeing him walking near Derrick that morning. When police brought him in for questioning, Erik eventually broke down and confessed to the crime. During interviews, Erik described feelings of anger and rejection that had built up over the years. He claimed that he had been bullied for his appearance, his red hair, thick glasses, and freckles, and that he sometimes took out his frustration on animals. Psychologists later diagnosed him with intermittent explosive disorder, though there was debate about whether that explained or excused his actions. The brutality of the murder left the public and the courts grappling with the question, how could someone so young commit an act so violent? Because of the severity of the crime, Erik was tried as an adult for second-degree murder. In 1994, he was convicted and sentenced to 9 years to life in prison, the maximum allowed at the time for someone his age. Over the years, Erik has applied for parole multiple times. Each time, Derrick's parents, Doreen and Dale Robie, attended hearings to speak against his release. They described how their lives have been forever changed and how the pain of losing Derrick never faded. In 2022, after 28 years behind bars, Erik Smith was granted parole. The decision reignited public outrage. Many felt that the crime was too brutal to ever justify his release, regardless of his age at the time. Derrick Robie's parents expressed deep disappointment, saying that although decades had passed, the wounds remained as raw as the day they lost their son. The case of Erik Smith and Derrick Robie remains one of the most disturbing examples of juvenile homicide in American history. It sparked debates about how the justice system should handle young offenders and whether rehabilitation is even possible for such violent crimes. For the people of Savona, the murder destroyed their sense of safety, and for the Robie family, life was permanently divided into before and after August 2nd, 1993. The story of Erik Smith is a reminder that evil can emerge in unexpected forms, and that justice, no matter how it is served, can never fully heal the loss of an innocent life. If you found this episode informative, please subscribe, share, and like to help us continue to tell the stories that must not be forgotten. And remember, it's only through shining the light on the darkest corners of human nature that we can begin to understand them. And as always, thank you for joining us for this episode of A Veil of Crime.